Please, human, pretend to be my daddy for just one day, whispered the abandoned alien girl. The rain hammered against Marcus Chen's jacket as he trudged through the abandoned industrial district on the outskirts of New Terra Colony. His boots splashed through puddles that reflected the dim glow of distant city lights. He'd taken this shortcut 100 times before, but tonight something felt different. The air carried an unusual chill, and an eerie silence had settled over the normally bustling area. That's when he heard it, a soft whimpering sound, barely audible above the rain. Marcus stopped, his hand instinctively moving to the plasma torch on his belt. As a maintenance worker for the colony's infrastructure, he'd encountered plenty of dangerous situations, but this sound was different. It was vulnerable, frightened. He followed the noise to a collapsed storage container, its rusted metal walls partially caved in. Peering through a gap, Marcus's breath caught in his throat. Huddled in the corner, soaked to the bone, was a small figure unlike anything he'd ever seen. The child, for surely it was a child, had luminescent blue skin that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. Large, amber eyes stared back at him with a mixture of terror and desperate hope. Pointed ears protruded from beneath matted, silvery hair, and her small frame trembled violently in the cold. "Hey there," Marcus said softly, crouching down to appear less threatening. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." The alien child pressed herself further into the corner, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. Marcus noticed she was wearing what looked like a tattered dress made from some kind of organic material, completely inadequate for the weather. "You must be freezing," he continued, slowly removing his jacket. "Here, take this." He extended the jacket through the gap, keeping his movements slow and deliberate. The child stared at the offered garment for a long moment before tentatively reaching out. Her small, four-fingered hand brushed against his, and Marcus was struck by how cold her skin felt. She wrapped herself in the jacket, which was comically oversized on her tiny frame. For the first time, Marcus saw something other than fear in those enormous eyes, a flicker of gratitude. "Can you understand me?" he asked gently. The child nodded slowly, then opened her mouth. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper, melodic yet tinged with profound sadness. "Yes, I learned from the broadcasts. Before they left me." Marcus felt his heart clench. "Who left you? Where are your parents?" The child's luminescent skin seemed to dim, as if her emotions affected her very biology. "My family, they were merchants. We came to trade. But humans scared them. They thought you would hurt me because I'm different. So they ran." A single tear, glowing faintly blue, traced down her cheek. "They said I was too much trouble. Too noticeable. They left me here 3 days ago." 3 days? Marcus felt anger rising in his chest, not the child, but at whoever could abandon such a vulnerable creature. "Have you eaten anything?" She shook her head. "All right, that settles it. Come on, let's get you out of here." Marcus carefully pried open the gap wider, creating enough space for the child to crawl through. She hesitated, her body trembling. Where will you take me? To the authorities? They'll put me in a facility. I've heard what happens to abandoned aliens. They study us, keep us in cages." Marcus paused, considering his options. She wasn't wrong. The bureaucratic process for dealing with unaccompanied alien minors was notoriously cold and impersonal. But what choice did they have? Then he saw the way she looked at him, with such desperate hope, and heard himself saying words he hadn't planned. "No cages. I promise. For tonight, you're coming home with me. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow." The child's eyes widened, and the glow of her skin intensified. "Really? You'd do that? For me?
Yeah, kid.
I would. She crawled through the opening and stood before him, barely reaching his waist. Looking up at him with those impossibly large eyes, she whispered something that broke Marcus's heart into 1,000 pieces. Could you pretend? Just for tonight. Her voice wavered. Pretend to be my daddy? Just for one day? I miss having a family so much. Marcus felt his throat tighten. He thought about his own daughter, safe at her mother's house across the colony, and couldn't imagine what it would be like if she were alone and abandoned in a strange world. He knelt down in the rain, meeting the alien child at eye level, and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. What's your name, sweetheart? ZYXRE. But you can call me Zara. That's more human, right? Zara is beautiful, Marcus said with a warm smile. And yes, Zara. For tonight, for as long as you need, I'll be here. You're not alone anymore. Zara launched herself forward, wrapping her small arms around Marcus's neck. Her body shook with sobs, years of fear and loneliness pouring out all at once. Marcus held her carefully, feeling the weight of this small life that had been so carelessly discarded. Come on, let's get you home, he murmured, standing up with Zara in his arms. She weighed almost nothing, and he could feel her heart beating rapidly against his chest. As they walked through the rain toward his apartment, Marcus felt Zara's breathing gradually slow and deepen. By the time they reached his building, she was fast asleep, her luminescent skin casting a soft blue glow that pulsed gently with each breath. Inside his modest apartment, Marcus carefully set Zara down on his couch and found some blankets. As he tucked them around her small form, she stirred slightly, mumbling something in her native language before settling back into sleep. Marcus sat in his chair, watching the sleeping child. He knew tomorrow would bring complicated decisions. He'd have to contact social services, find out if there were any organizations that specialized in helping abandoned alien children, maybe even try to track down her family, though the thought of returning her to people who'd left her to die made his blood boil. But those were tomorrow's problems. Tonight, a frightened child had asked him for something simple yet profound, to pretend she belonged somewhere, to someone. It was the least he could do. And as Marcus watched Zara sleep peacefully for perhaps the first time in days, her skin glowing softly in the darkness like a night light, he realized that maybe he wasn't pretending at all. Some bonds transcended species, genetics, and biology. Sometimes, family was simply about showing up when someone needed you most. Sweet dreams, Zara, Marcus whispered, pulling his own blanket over his shoulders. You're safe now, I promise. Outside, the rain continued to fall, washing away the dirt and grime of the city. And inside, two unlikely souls, human and alien, found comfort in each other's presence, proving that humanity's greatest strength had always been its capacity for compassion, even toward those who seemed impossibly different.